Good evening, good evening. Welcome, ladies of SheEO, and to anyone who is watching. My name is Keisha Spencer, also known as Coach K Marie, and I am the director of member engagement for the SheEO district. I am a life and wellness coach, and on tonight, being that this is Business Week, we have an incredible lady by the name of Mrs. Lisa Arnold.
You're so sweet.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Miss Lee, I'm just going to
You.
give you all a brief introduction of who she is, but I'm sure she's going to be able to break it down to you. She is a marketing strategist, and looks like her one of her expertise is small town startups. And
Yes.
it's big out here in this world when you're trying to grow as an entrepreneur and marketing yourself. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm going to turn it over to Miss Lisa so that she can give you all a better understanding of who she is and what she does.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I'm really excited to be here tonight. I've been looking forward to it all day.
Awesome.
So let me tell you a little bit what I do. In 2018, I founded a company called Small Town Startup, and we exist purely to grow small businesses in small towns. And we do that a few different ways. So first and foremost, we have a small business academy. To date, it's taught more than 2,000 business owners, leaders. We also have a 6,000 square foot co-working space in the heart of Springfield, Tennessee. And we have a digital marketing agency that serves just over 30 clients right now. And last but not least, we have pop-up shops, which allow people to test out their retail business idea anywhere from 90 days to a year. So they don't have to get stuck in those long-term leases, and they can really test out, is this business sustainable? And that's the whole goal, right? Like, we want to mitigate the risk of entrepreneurship and actually give people every single tool that they need to succeed, especially in the beginning, which can be really, really tough.
Awesome. I know that's a thing now. The pop-up shops is they're really growing. And then like especially right now with the pandemic and people not wanting to go to malls and
Yes.
big spaces. And it's also a great place for people that are a little shy or a little afraid to get out there and promote themselves. Just being surrounded by some people that you know, feeling more comfortable, feeling more confident in what it is that you have to offer. So I know those are going really well. So just to kind of take it a little ways back for you,
Yeah.
how did you get into marketing?
So I got into marketing in the most haphazard way possible, I would say. I went to college and I got my master's degree in journalism. I thought that I was going to be the next CNN reporter. Like, I was ready for that, and I did it for a little while. I worked for a very small news station back in my hometown in New York. And there I actually started an online news source, because what I found out with all of these television stations is they always put the big stories online, right? But there's all these little stories that were happening that never got aired. And I was like, gosh, we're missing out on that community piece. So I went to the general manager as, a very young and naive, like 22 or 23-year-old who thought I could conquer the world. And I said, I think we should start putting these online, and we should have like different, niches for each one. And he looked at me, he said, okay, do it. And I'd like to see it in the next week. So that night I went to Barnes and Noble and I bought my first book on web design because I had no idea. And it was called WordPress for Dummies. And within a week, I popped up a WordPress page. And we started writing articles. We hired a street team of basically college interns to go and find these small stories and talk more about them. And then the first year, we grossed $72,000 in advertising off of that site. So the news station, I didn't stay for the entire time. It was kind of taken over after that, and they made that amount of money, which was incredible. There was a large food manufacturer and distributor down the road, and they had caught wind of what I was doing with like this hyper local news. And they had said, hey gosh, we have this tool and it's called Wickwire, you should check it out. So I check it out, lo and behold, there's a marketing job for it. It is a very niche tool that allowed people way back in the day, this was a big deal, to take paper applications from like Wendy's or Applebee's, where you would have to go into the restaurant physically to know if they were hiring, and put them online. And I was like, okay, I mean, now that seems normal that you could go to apply for any job online, but 10, 12 years ago, that was never the case. So I got hired for the position, worked my way up, became the vice president of that company, and learned everything there was to learn there. We ended up having about 29% of the market share of all the Wendy's in the nation. We were, getting 50,000 people a month applying for jobs through the tool. So it was huge. Went on to do marketing for companies like Kellogg's and Cinnabon and Applebee's through agencies. And when I moved to Springfield, I saw a lot of small businesses that were struggling getting the word out and having really clear messaging. And that's what started Small Town Startup.
Awesome. Wow. So you were just young and hungry.
Oh, girl. And that's the thing. That's the number one thing I can tell you is you always say yes before you're ready. And then you figure it out. You go buy the book, you do whatever you got to do, but that's the only way to success. There is no way to success without hard work. And I've always said yes before I was ready. I have a really good poker face. And if I know anything about myself is I will work harder than anyone else in the room. And that's it. That's the that's the only way to success.
Say yes before you're ready. Like they say, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yes, exactly. Got to use that hustle muscle. Like that's it. That's all there is to it.
The hustle muscle. Listen, so typically when going into marketing, especially for a new business owner or entrepreneur, like when going into marketing, do you suggest that they get a marketing manager, or do you kind of have to get a feel of it and do the groundwork on your own?
I 100% believe that before you hire for any position in your organization, you better do it first. Yeah. And the reason why is that's going to help you truly find the right partner, the right employee, the right vendor, the right outsourced company, whatever it may be, because you know exactly how you want it done at that point. And with marketing, especially as an entrepreneur, it can get really pricey really quickly. So you have to look at the cost of that and determine if it's going to be something that's worth it. Is it the ROI that you want there? Yeah. Is it marketing that you want at first? Or is it a business developer going out and knocking on doors? I mean, it really depends on your product or service, but my opinion is you always start marketing yourself first. And remember, you are your brand. Yeah. That is it, especially in the beginning. And we as small businesses, I mean, for so long have seen that as a detriment. And I don't believe that. I think like that is our superpower over corporations is we are our business. I go out there every day. I represent Small Town Startup. I can hop on an Instagram live right now and reach my thousands of followers because I am my brand versus having to go through all this red tape before I could even post an Instagram post. There is such power in being a small business owner.
Yeah. And I with me, myself personally, I've been in management for years and, managed someone else's business. And so stepping out into the world of entrepreneurship and actually quitting a 9-to-5 job, that was scary for me. It was very scary. And I like the piece about you are your brand, because that's what I had to realize. Because if you really let that soak in, it's like it'll boost your confidence up. Your worth in knowing that it's something that you're so passionate about, something that it was in your path before you even knew it was in your path. And just being able to just dive right into it. Like with you being a marketing strategist, that takes a certain type of personality.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And here's what I'll say. The one thing that I realized, I remember, I've been doing small town startup now since April 2018, but I was the COO of a tech startup company based in Chicago. And I held on to that job until I couldn't hold on to it anymore while I really grew the business. And I actually had planned to leave March 2020. As we know, COVID hit and that was really scary. So I held on to the job until June 2020 when I physically could not do both anymore. And it was the most exhilarating and terrifying thing to do. And I always think of this quote, and it's just like, it's a meme everywhere now, but it's like an entrepreneur will work 100 hours a week to not have to work 40 hours a week for someone else. And that's who we are. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, we will work on our problems and our stuff and we will never burn out. But if we're doing another job and we're not believing in what we can truly do, we got an issue. And people always ask me, like, when is the time to jump? When should I jump from my current job? And I always say, when you have about 60% of your revenue coming in from your side hustle. And that's what, compared to your salary. So if about 60% of your salary is coming in from that side hustle, jump, sister, because I will tell you right now, you will make that in the first month when you give that side hustle full focus. And that is the truth.
And you know what, as being a serial entrepreneur right now myself, going into that, I'm starting to see that as well, that, you just have to jump and you got to focus on the thing that you're most passionate about that's going to bring you some money.
Yes. And it's all about faith, right? Like, we were put on this earth to do something big. And are you going to rise to the occasion? Well, then now's the time. I mean, you will never have this very moment. We will never have this exact conversation again. And we should cherish every single moment. It's a huge gift. And, the only way we can repay that is by actually, stepping into it and truly, truly moving forward with it.
Not burying those talents.
Yes, absolutely. Like, the world needs you, and that's a big deal.
And there's a saying that nobody else's company or business is designed to make you rich.
Exactly.
And so when you kind of get into that mind frame, it's like you have no other choice but to go hard when you're trying to go in for your own thing, your own vision, your own plan, your goals, what you were destined to do. So I think it's really awesome to just kind of to know where you're going, for one, and not try to market yourself to be something that you're not.
No. And I mean, there are horror stories about that.
Tell us some.
Oh, girl. All right. Well, glad you're sitting down. So
we're ready to be told now.
I mean, it is like after hours, so we can get real serious with this. There are so many horror stories in marketing yourself as something you're not, and marketing your value in a different way. Even down to the way that you talk about yourself when you're just talking to your friends. There is such a huge disadvantage to kind of, I guess, portraying things. Now, what I will say is, as a small business owner, I have always talked up small town startup like it is my favorite child, right? Like, it could do no harm, it could do no wrong. There's so much opportunity here. But if I physically cannot help someone, cannot help a client, because we have a whole business consultation side where we have freelancers that come in, we have freelancer lawyers, accountants that come in and help. If I don't know what I'm doing in certain things, I'm A-okay with saying, I don't do that. That's not my expertise. Yeah. But what I can do is I can give you a solution. Let me connect you with so-and-so. Let you talk to so-and-so. But I mean, we've had business owners come into small town startup and sit down at the table and all of a sudden just break into tears. And you're like, what's going on? And what you realize is they've been holding up this facade of who they were or who their business was for so long, not realizing that the core things that they actually offer and they're really good at are so valuable. Yeah. And that's so problematic for me, because it's like, man, you are burying your strengths by trying to be everything to everyone. And we see that, right? Like, we see small business owners truly, truly, truly want to be everything to everyone, and they want to do everything, and they come to you with this grand vision. And the number one thing that we ask them is, great, where are you starting? Yeah. Where are you mastering first? And if they have hesitation finding that spot, that's where we know we have to zero in and strategize on like, where are you starting? Then what's the next step after that? And what's the next step after that? And that, and that, and that. And that's how you actually grow a business. You don't grow a business by a grand plan. You grow a business by one step at a time. And that's the thing. If you want to market that master plan, that's awesome. But also be very realistic about what you can and cannot offer, because that will burn you out on your business. That will make you not want to do it anymore. And that will completely shift, what the universe has ready for you. And that's a really big deal.
So what would you say is a great starting point for marketing?
I think the number one starting point for marketing is something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do. When we start a business, immediately we claim our social media profiles, we tell all of our friends about it, we do all this stuff. We don't sit down and say, hey, what is my business? What is the value I am providing to people? How am I providing that value by either a product or a service? How do I know that that product or service is wanted in the market that I'm going after? And where is that market, right? Where are those people? Because that tells you where you need to be marketing. Because if you are going after, I don't know, like a 45 to 65-year-old women who are in business, but your main strategy is that you're on TikTok and Tinder and, Snapchat, well, I don't know if that's great. We even have people who are experimenting with things on Bumble now, because you can do the swipes and it will show up ads. And it's like, but is your market there? And the thing is, probably not, right? Like when we're looking at 45 to 65-year-old women, you're looking at more Facebook and Instagram. You might be looking at email marketing because they're still used to checking email compared to 18 or 19 years old that are like, why? But being able to really target where you want to be first before you ever make a move on marketing is the most important thing, because you might just be having the best marketing message, but you're talking to the wrong people. So know who you're selling to is number one, and then know where they're hanging out. That's, that's the number one thing that you do with marketing.
I hope y'all got y'all pen and paper, because I just wrote that down.
I talk fast too. I'm sorry, but I get excited.
I believe somebody put it in the comments, so I hope they're taking notes, because this is great stuff right here.
Thank you.
Okay, question. So we were talking about start doing the groundwork on your own, marketing yourself, because if you can invest as much as you can into yourself, and you can learn how to do it, because, we can be given something, but there's still some groundwork that we have to do on our end. Like, as for someone that's doing it independently.
Yeah.
And does not have the funds to go out and get a marketing manager and starting there. They're writing down their plans. They found their market. And so, boom, okay, I found my market. I know who I want to market to. I know what I'm selling. And, what would be the ideal way to market? What do you, I know a lot of people use social media platforms.
Yeah.
But outside of social media, what would be some other marketing strategies for, a new business owner or entrepreneur?
So the biggest thing I think people are sleeping on right now are two different platforms. And they're kind of social media, but not really. First and foremost, your Google My Business profile is massive. If you don't have one right now, you have a brick and mortar, go make one tonight. That is a huge deal. That drives a ton of traffic. And the reason why it's important, y'all, is people who are searching on Google for things like you don't know about you. And you need to have a presence there, right? That's a really big deal. Even if you only put a post out, 1 or 2 times a month, make sure you're active there. The really cool thing about Google My Business is it tells you exactly how many phone calls it's driven to you. It tells you exactly how many times people have clicked on the direction or your website, so you can really see it, and it's free. I mean, that's fantastic. The other place I would say, especially if you have a physical item that you're selling or you're designing something cool, one thing that is huge is Pinterest. And I know that we've all been on Pinterest. We've all done Pinterest fails ourselves. Like, we can all be friends here and be honest. But Pinterest is huge because 2 out of 3 women around the world that have internet access have a Pinterest account. And more importantly, 66% of people that see something on Pinterest have made a purchase because of what they've seen on Pinterest. So you're talking about massive influence on that profile. Now, the other thing I would say is with social media, you are so right to kind of guide me to, you know, what can you do other than social media? I'll tell you why that's a really great question. Because with social media, you are building a mansion on rented land, right? We saw that President Trump was removed from Twitter, right? And that was because he violated a terms of service that is super important. These are private companies that if you violate anything, they have the right to remove you with or without just cause. So first of all, know the terms and services of those businesses, left, right, front, back, right? Before you ever sign up or do anything. And then more importantly, start doing marketing that's going to create a captive audience that you can keep. So that's things like email marketing, right? That's things like getting people to sign up for a membership on your website. That's things like getting a text message list and starting doing some SMS marketing. Those things, that's where you can actually capture a person's true contact. And those are big deals. And for me, I know that they're a little bit older, old school marketing, but that's a really, really great way to capture people and to actually physically have their information without ever worrying about it getting wiped out.
Gotcha. And then you can also set something up consistently where it's constantly bringing a buzz. So they're constantly reminded of, you know, who you are, what you have to offer. So that's great. And you know, something else that I've noticed, like for Facebook, and you're trying to market your business, it's a no-go on marketing your business where it doesn't seem like it shows on your timeline as much.
Right.
Like you can put on the fanciest outfit and you can go out and have a great time and you shop and you may get 1,000 likes. And then as soon as you post your business, you may get about 5 to 7 likes. You know, besides the people that, you know, is close to you and they're going to like it just because and they probably didn't even look at it, you know.
Right. And I'll tell you why. So Facebook is so interesting. First of all, if you have a personal page that you are selling on, make sure you get yourself a business page. Now, the difference is your personal profile is your personal profile. That's where we post picture of our fur babies, of our kids, our husbands, whatever, our buddies. And then your page is your page for your business, right? So what happens with Facebook is, I'm going to give you a little hint. If you post your pictures of yourself on your journey through your business, creating business, stuff like that on your business page, those are going to outperform any salesy pitch forever. And you just said it, like when I'm looking fly, I'm ready to go. I'm going to be with my girlfriends. I'm going to have a great time. Well, that's awesome. And you got a lot of attention with that. But the minute you posted your product, you didn't. And the reason why is marketers have ruined Facebook. So Facebook, when it started way back in the day, it was actually intended just to be a communication tool among people. And then marketers got a hold of it and we were like, well, wait a second, we can start posting like a billboard on here. And Facebook was like, knock it off, knock it off. Because it was always supposed to be an engagement thing, right? And so now the algorithm on Facebook, what it's actually looking for is meaningful conversation. So that's not likes and it's not necessarily shares, it's comments. So in the first couple of minutes of you posting that outfit where you look amazing and all your girlfriends are hyping you up, Facebook's algorithm is seeing that. And they're saying, oh my gosh, this is very relevant content. Get it in front of more people. Get it in front of more people. And then you're getting the hundreds of likes and stuff like that. So when you post you post a post that gets 5 or 6 likes about your business, what that's telling you is that you're not pleasing the algorithm. So how do you change that content, right, to be more personal? Because again, going back to the whole thing of, as a small business owner, your superpower is being a small business owner. That's a really big deal. So how do you own that? Like, how do you just make that you inherently? And that's showing your journey. We show mistakes that we've made. I've done Insta stories before where I go through every single marketing mistake that I've made in my entire career because I'm shameless. I mean, I have no problem talking about them because whenever I talk about my mistakes, it shows how far I've come and what I've learned. You know, when you're in an interview and someone says, like, tell us your biggest mistake, like, I am their poster child for that. I'm like, do you have 20 minutes? You know,
that's kind of getting up to what I'm getting ready to get to next. So tell us a little bit about some of those failed journeys in marketing. So, you know, we can kind of help the ladies out so we don't make those same mistakes along our journey.
All right, so let's get started. Just like all right. So one of the best mistakes that I actually just told one of my employees today, the company that I was telling you about that took the paper applications to online, it's called Wickwire. And it was spelled WYCK, WYRE. So it's like super hard to spell, super hard to remember. When we get off this video, you'll be like, what was that name again? You'll never remember it, right?
I forgot already.
So exactly. So me being the genius marketer that I was at like 24 years old and being given a ton of money because it was like an investment, I thought to myself, you know what we're going to do? Billboards. We're going to do billboards and they're going to be flashy and everything. No. First of all, it was a website, so no one could type that in while they're driving 70 miles past it. They're seeing a word that they'll never remember again. And then they're going through it and they're like, they get home and they're like, what was that again? I don't know. You know, they'll never find us. So that was like, that's money down the drain. We also did, we wrapped a Mini Cooper. Remember when those were like the cool cars?
Yes.
We wrapped a Mini Cooper in Wickwire. We drove it all around the United States. That did nothing for us. Oh. Ultimately, what we found out about Wickwire is we were selling to restaurant owners, okay? Restaurant owners, we all know a restaurant owner. They are constantly in the kitchen. They have no time for any of our crap, and they just want to get stuff done. Yeah. So what we learned was, let's take that marketing budget, and instead, we're going to turn it into a travel budget. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to go directly to them. And we're going to start talking to them. And every time there's this huge restaurant conference every year called the National Restaurant Association Conference. It's in Chicago at McCormick Place. It's a really big deal. We took a huge chunk of budget and we bought a 50 by 50 square foot booth there. And we overpowered everyone because we knew this was the 1 week a year all the restaurant owners from the whole United States took vacation and came to Chicago, right? Yeah. So what did we do? Not only did we sell it, but let me tell you what we did. We also hired masseuses to be there. We had the inserts that go into your shoes because McCormick Place notoriously has concrete floors. So we were giving away inserts with our logos on them. I mean, like, we knew exactly what we were doing at that point. And we realized who our market was and where they were. They're not looking at billboards because they don't get home till 11 o'clock at night. They don't care what your car is wrapped in because they're exhausted because they've been on their feet running that restaurant for the past 12 hours. But you know what? When they come to that National Restaurant Association show, they're there to party and we're there to help them. And that was, I mean, when I say we had leads, we could not keep up with these people. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. So it all goes back to knowing who your market is. That's a huge deal.
And I noticed something that you said, you know, something that y'all provided based off knowing your market, knowing what they were experiencing, what they may have needed, throwing in the massages and things like that. Sometimes when you're marketing, you do have to give something away.
Yes.
Right? You got to find out what the people want, and you got to give them a little, like an appetizer, like a, you know, just a little bit into what you can get when, you know, when you partner up with us, you know. So I like that whole idea.
Oh yeah. And it's, you know, what I always call it too, is I call it the value exchange. So if I give you a free trial of my product or a free trial of my service, I am getting paid by your information. So I want to capture your phone number, your email address, your regular address, so I could send you a thank you note. I want you to sign up for a full demo, you know, all that stuff. So that value exchange better be equal, because that is the whole thing with marketing. Marketing is about gaining the customer's information. Advertising is about physically selling to them, right? And we get that so confused. So marketing is about all that research behind that goes into it and actually targets the audience. But when you're advertising is when you're placing ads, and because you already know that information, marketing has already done that research for you. So that value exchange when it comes to marketing is a really, really big deal, because then that value that you grabbed gets hand off to your sales team, and that's where they make the sale. So your job as a marketer is to intrigue people and to find out the people that are actually intrigued by your product or service.
Okay. So a question. So
yeah,
I don't want to say there's a right and a wrong way, but on the flip side, there is a right and a wrong way to market. So if you can kind of give us a scale of some great ways to market, and then just some don't, we have the not to do list.
Oh yeah. So here's what I'll say. For me, let's start with the don'ts first.
Okay.
Never, ever attack competition. Don't ever do it. Don't ever try. Do not rise above, because that will always come back negatively to you. And the reason why is, even if 99% of the people know the story, the 1% that might actually purchase from you is just going to see you, have no idea who the competitors are, and think, gosh, that person's super negative. I don't want to be in their orbit, right? So that's a big deal. The other thing I would say about don't do on marketing is do not advertise or market anything that you don't currently offer and you know that you can like knock out of the park, right? Yeah. Because if you get someone in and they're super excited and you don't know how to do what you have marketed to do, it could be a really big flop really quickly. Now, on the flip side, I would say if you somewhat know how to do something, then you should be up all night studying it. Like that is, we were put on this earth to do all that we possibly can do with these like short years that we're given. So learn. There is no excuse for you not to be learning something new every single day about your craft. That is what you were put on this earth to do. And if you don't do that, then honestly, you aren't living up to your potential. So that is huge. Now, on the do's of marketing, share your personal journey. Social media, for example, is not just a place for you to sell. In fact, about 10% of your actual content on social media should be sales. The other 90% should be telling your story. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? We had a really tough day today, and it was really hard. Last Wednesday when everything was going on and the entire world was turning into a dumpster fire. I mean, not that it hasn't been for a really long time, but like that was a moment where it was okay for us as small business owners to show that things aren't okay, because people don't buy from businesses. They buy from people. People buy from people, right? And that doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Again, that's our superpower as business owners. So for me, it's just making that connection online. For me, social media is making that connection. When you go on Small Town Startup, it's just full of a lot of cool things that we're doing around the office, features of people that work with us in our co-working space. It's, blogs from our own team talking about how they actually do their jobs. It's not like, hey, buy a membership. Hey, buy a membership. Hey, you should, work with our marketing agency. Hey, we have an open office. Hey, because if we did that, people would eventually tune us out completely. Yeah. And that's not what we want to do. We want to share our story and we want to be super empowering. And I think that if your marketing is doing that, you're doing something right.
And I noticed something that you said about when you're sharing your journey, share the lows, share the bad days as well as the good days, because everybody loves a success story. You can be having the worst day possible, and then just listening to someone share a success story. Yes, we were down last week, but this week we're up and it's on and popping and we are striving. And then it shows motivation. It shows how passionate you are about your business. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's really good to share your journey, share the highs and the lows, because let's being real, you're not always up here.
No. Oh my gosh, no. Here's the thing. Small Town Startup went from this little thing where I was teaching classes every so often to, oh, people want me to do what I'm teaching in class for them, right? To, oh, people don't have internet because we live in a semi-rural place, so I'm going to make a co-working space. I will tell you, in March of 2020, I thought I was going to lose everything when COVID hit, because that's when we were going to open our co-working space. And we had a multi-$1,000 a month lease to pay, and we had not one member, right? The co-working space is what, I thought was going to be this big bang, and we still haven't been able to have full capacity there, and we won't be able to until probably Q4 of this year, right? Yeah. And so the digital marketing agency is what really carried that for us, which was great, and I'm glad that I really, really built that up and built a foundation there. But, even now, as we're coming into, major things happening at Small Town Startup and looking at other locations for Small Town Startup and looking at, we're looking to buy a food truck and wrap it and allow people to test out their food truck ideas. There are days where I am so down about things that I'm like, oh my gosh, did I make the right choice even getting into this? And it's okay to feel that way. And we as women, girl, we hold more weight than anyone else in this world, and we hold more guilt, more everything else, and we don't talk about it. And that is a massive problem. People who have gotten to the top and who have been successful and who have multi-hundreds of thousands of dollars of business coming in, we stay stoic, and that sucks because we aren't showing the truth. But I have horrible days where I think to myself, I just want to put it all up. And then the next day, I turn around and there's my sign that says, you keep going. Put that chin up. We don't have time for this, right? But it's okay to feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, because as women, it probably is, right? And it's okay to show that journey, the high and the low, because I'll tell you right now, girl, no one's going to relate to you more than when you can show the lows and the highs. Don't just make it a highlight reel. That's not real. That's not genuine. That's not authentic. So it's absolutely okay.
Yes, most definitely. I believe in that. I know, like you were saying, sometimes when you're having a bad moment, or sometimes it may not just be a day. Yeah. Sometimes it may be a situation that you're in. And I've noticed, the morale can go down in your marketing and in your business, because you're just not, and it's good to have a team that can come in and when they realize that you're not in your best marketing mind, and just, so how do you build that type of team?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I think that y'all are doing it here, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a team that you work with, right? Like the SheEO district, these are your people. Like these are the people that you talk to. When I've had down days about certain things, I've called up Kelly before, and told her things. And, here's what I'll tell you too. There is this woman that I admire so much. And if you're not following her, please, please, please do. Her name is Kat Cole. She is the former CEO of Cinnabon. And now she was the group president for Focus Brands, which is like Cinnabon, Auntie Anne's, Moe's, all of those really large restaurant chains. And she, first of all, she's amazing. She started out as a Hooters waitress and worked her way up to vice president of that company, and then went to Cinnabon. Like, she is the most, the coolest person in the world. But she just recently put out this video, and it's still on her Instagram. And her Instagram is Kat, KATCOLEATL. Kelly, she's in Atlanta, so you guys should meet up someday. But so she put out this video talking about how to lead during heavy times. And oh my gosh, I was watching it and weeping, because it was amazing to see this woman who has led multi-million-dollar brands talk about how it took her so long to feel like she could even just tell her team she wasn't feeling good that day, right? And she was so raw and honest with them. And that was such a big deal, And she was talking about, the honesty of saying you're not okay, and letting that become the norm, and normalizing the fact that we don't always have to be up, right? We don't always have to be leading with passion and leading with power. We can have our down days too. And it's just important, find your tribe, find the ones who are going to lift you up when you are down, find the ones who are going to cheer you on when you are up. And when you find those people, you're fine. You're good for the rest of your life,
And for those that are listening that do not have a tribe, I am telling you that SheEO is the tribe.
Yes.
We got Miss Lisa to come on here to drop some gems on us. It is just growing. And I'm finding a tribe. We've been talking about this because your tribe can motivate you. And like we were discussing, like minds and like spirits.
Yes.
And so you kind of feed off your tribe's energy, like being a marketing strategist. Some people have that. They just have a competitive spirit anyway. So they're gonna feed off ideas, and energy and things like that. But also within a tribe, it's not necessarily a competitive spirit, but it's a motivation. Like if my sister over here is doing it and I know what she's going through personally, but I see how hard she's going in, that kind of motivates you to go in as hard, that energy, and not that negative, energy on the outside of the tribe that does not know what you're trying to do. So I think that's a very important piece to marketing and being a sound mind.
It's huge. And the thing that I'll say, whether it's marketing or whether it's just being the CEO of your company, whatever, is protect your energy.
Yes.
Protect it. Because the big thing is, if you don't have your tribe and you don't know who your people are, protect your energy. Yes. And I don't deal with negative people. If they only come to me with problems, I'm not here for that. I am the most optimistic person, and I truly believe that is 80% of why my business has made it forward, because I believe in the town that I'm in. I believe in the people in this town, and I treat them like they are the best version of themselves, because people rise to how you treat them. My mom has always said that. People rise to how you treat them. And if you treat them like they are below you, they are going to act below you. If you treat them like they are mean or negative, they are going to act mean or negative. But if you treat them like they are the gold walking on this earth, people will act like that. And all of a sudden, all the people surrounding you are acting like the best versions of themselves because you are treating them like that. And that is a huge deal. That is a huge deal. And the people who don't like that aren't part of your tribe, right? So people will absolutely rise to the way that you treat them. It does not matter. I don't care if it is someone who didn't get a high school degree or a GED, or someone who has 4 master's degrees. Everyone gets treated like they are the best person I've ever met when they walk in that room. And I am so proud of that character trait in me. That I have never made anyone feel less. And that's a huge deal. And we really all need to be doing that.
You tell mom that Keisha from the SheEO district said, thank you for that nugget. Yes. Because, that makes a whole lot of sense, to treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
No, and you can encourage someone with the way you see them and the way you lift them to, make them shine. And everyone likes to feel like they're somebody. And so that's a really good nugget. I appreciate you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So, we got about 15 minutes, so we got a little more time to talk. So now I want to get a little in your business a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, relationships and marketing, that's a huge thing, because you build business relationships and you networking and things like that. Like, how can it affect your market if you have a relationship that didn't go so well, or you may have, how to handle those situations with business partners or people that you've networked with, and even competition. Handle those situations.
Here's what I'll tell you. I'll let's break it down, because we'll break it down with like business relationships in general, and then competitors. Okay. Because I kind of see it as like, it's like the same side of two coins, or what is it? The 2 sides to 1 coin, whatever the saying is. I'm horrible at sayings. But here's what I'll tell you. is I think if a relationship goes wrong with a client, we'll start there, and you didn't fulfill obligations, or maybe it just wasn't a good fit. I think so often we want to find a way to like blame the other person so we're not at fault.
Yeah.
Girl, no. Like, when you've messed up or whatever it may be. And the bottom line is whether or not you perform for the client that you want, the way you wanted to, or whether or not the client thought that you performed the way that you should have, customer service is number one. Yeah. So the client, it doesn't work out, that's fine. End it amicably. Say, hey, I just don't think that I can service you the way that you deserve to be serviced. And these are the offerings that I have, and I truly believe in them. And I know that they work for certain clients, but maybe the product or service or the thing that we're working on, it just doesn't work. And I think that that's okay. And I don't want to keep you trapped in something where you don't feel like you're getting the value, right? Yeah. So that's one side of the coin. Smooth. And I think that it's really important to always meet things with love, right? Like, we're all trying to do our best. And I'll be honest with you, like, clients who are rude or mean or whatever, it's never about you. Like, it is about something that they're upset with. Their business isn't thriving the way that they thought. And it probably has a lot more to do than just what your service is. Or they had a bad day, or their mom is sick, or one of their friends just got COVID. Like, there are so many different things that we need to stop thinking that we're so important that we can totally affect someone's mood. And we may just be the punching bag that day. Right? So that's a huge deal. The competitor side of things, I mean, since we set up shop in Springfield, Tennessee, we've had competitors move in. We've had competitors move in across the street. Yeah. And frankly, in my opinion, like, what's meant for me will be for me.
Yes.
And I believe that.
And speaking of what's meant for you, sometimes when we're thinking that something is, when we get it in our minds that we want to do something, we like to bring our friends along and think that, they've been here with you through the journey, and so you thinking they're going into the business with you. Someone asked a question and said, did you start your business with friends? And if so, how many of them are still there?
So I did not, I didn't have partners in the business or start it with friends in the business. It was solely my thing. The friends that I'm an interesting bird. I've always had a bunch of really great acquaintances, but then just a very small amount of true best friends who know everything there is to know about me, right? And those people, they were there at the beginning and they're still here now. In fact, one of them is even working for the company part-time. So those are like my tried and true girls, like through and through. There's nothing to do that. And then I have business relationships, right? Like the CEO of one of the companies I worked for, I'm still very close with, and he's one of my mentors to me, and there's another one, same thing. But there are definitely times where I felt like I was much closer with people when I started the business than now. And I think it's because I've evolved over time, going from someone who holds a couple classes and makes a couple $100 a month to someone who is grossing, we bring in tens of thousands of dollars a month now, which is incredible. But the thing is, like, it's changed my focus. It's changed who I am as a person. It's taught me some great lessons. It's taught me some really hard lessons, and it's changed me. So maybe I'm not as compatible to those people, but that's the thing. Like, I always look at it. I look at me first. Like, why aren't they there? Well, honestly, I've changed a lot, and I don't have as much free time, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. But I think people are on a journey with you for as long as they possibly can be. And you should just be grateful for the amount of time that they've given you and that you've been able to give them. That's all there is to it. Going back to it though, like, protect your energy. When I started Small Town Startup, I'll be honest with you, I moved a little bit in silence. I knew I had a good idea and I wanted to fully bake it before I started truly expressing it. And I only told the people that I had to tell in order to actually bring it to fruition. So like, I talked to the person that I rented the space from to hold my first class. And I reached out to some, I would say, like, I guess, key people that I would want to be in the class. So there was all of that. But I didn't really like go full force, like, oh, I have this great idea. My idea, though, actually came from my mother-in-law, who is freaking rad. Like my mom is awesome and my mother-in-law is awesome. So like my life is set. Like no matter what, I'll be fine because I've got two of the best moms in the entire freaking universe. But she had mentioned this whole idea to me when we were up in Kansas City for Christmas about this company called Boys Grow in Kansas City. And it's a nonprofit that actually takes inner city youth and brings them out to a farm and teaches them how to grow their own food, start their own business, sell at the store. I mean, it was so cool because it's like, oh my gosh, these kids are getting a full entrepreneurship internship. And like, this never would have happened without Boys Grow. And so I started thinking, I'm looking around the square and I'm thinking to myself, we could do this. Like we could do this with the small business owners here or the people that want to be part of this. They want to, but they have no idea how to start a business. And it just kind of inspired me and my light went off. But that happened in December of 2017. And Small Town Startup didn't have its first class until April of 2018. So that entire time, no one knew other than my husband what I was thinking of. I mean, we were literally sitting there for months going back and forth about what the business name would be. Is it going to be, what do you think about Springfield Grows? What do you think about Grow Springfield? What do you think about Innovation Station? What do you think about, going back and forth? And I remember, I'll be honest with you, I'm laying in the tub, just like with a bath bomb, like in my phone, like just scrolling through Instagram and it hit me. And it was like Small Town Startup. And I text John, my husband, and he's like, yes, that's it. And I'm in the tub on GoDaddy, desperately trying to get the domain, right? It was like frantic all of a sudden. And that is what launched us. But there was like a 4-month period where nothing happened because I needed to let it percolate. Like I needed to give myself time and the honor to actually let this idea come through me. And Elizabeth Gilbert is one of my favorite authors. And she talks about creativity. I can't remember the name of the book, but she talks about this idea that the universe gives you 1,000 good ideas in your lifetime, right? And they pass through you like a lightning bolt. Yeah. And you are either ready to take on that idea or you're not ready. And after a while, that idea will escape your body to go to someone else to become what it needs to be. Yeah. And so many of the ideas had gone through my body. But this is the one that just stuck and was just persistent in the back of my head, like do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And that's how it went. So yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I know back in October, and as I've been a certified life coach since 2019. Okay. But I hadn't started marketing myself as a coach. And, I had a conversation with Kelly Barnes and, and she kind of snatched my edges a little bit with, a conversation. And it's like, I literally got off the phone with her that night and this name came to me like immediately because it's about, for me, my brand is A Better Me by K. Marie. And so a better me is what helped me evolve as a person. And, thinking about rebirth and just being saying a better me within itself automatically accepts accountability that I was something that, I wasn't proud of before. And I became a better being. And so a better me just came to me and it came like in the blink of an eye. And I did the same thing. Mm-hmm. I got on LegalZoom and I shouldn't have went there, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm like, let me go ahead and get this name real quick before somebody snatch this name up. Because when it comes to you, and then that's just called divine timing. And then you got to wait on it. You got to sit in it so the spirit can give it to you. Yes. And sometimes he can use your situations that you're in for it to marinate.
Oh, girl, yes. And that's the thing, some people are like, oh, I had this great idea, but then I never acted on it, blah, blah, blah. And I always tell them like, well, then that wasn't the idea for you. Because again, going back to the competition thing, like what's meant for me is meant for me. And what's meant for my competitors is meant for my competitors. And I'm never going to lose an ounce of sleep over, competition because I know my value and that is it, right? I know my value. I know what I provide to my clients. I know that my clients come back with results that they report to me and that I see in their sales, or I see, we've taught 2,000 plus people. Like that to me tells me that I'm not going anywhere and my competition isn't going anywhere either.
Yeah.
And I think that we actually validate each other because now
Yeah.
it's two people screaming the same thing. You know, I have another competitor that I'm thinking of right now too, that when this whole thing happened with, you know, the whole free speech thing, I put out a whole soliloquy on Facebook being like, y'all, this isn't about free speech. Like, this is about terms of service. Like, I'm a tech startup girl at heart. I will tell you right now, and I'll tell you how it is. And he got on there and was like, yeah, she's exactly right. Like, and I feel the same way too. And it's like, your competitor doesn't have to be a competitor. They can actually be a shoulder to lean on.
Right.
And if they're coming after you then that's not a competitor, that's a bad person. Like, you know, there's a difference.
Yeah.
We can both have pie. There's enough pie. I can't eat a whole pie. Please take some of the pie, you know? And that's exactly how I've always felt about competition.
And we can sit at the table together. Why not sit at the table together and share the knowledge?
Exactly. Exactly. It's
yes. Before we get out, I just so everyone can hear, how can everyone get in touch with you in small town? Because somebody may need to, you know, they're from a small town and they may need your advice with starting their business up. How can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So the ways that you can get in touch with me, first of all, my email address is Lisa, Lisa, at smalltownstartup.com. Or you can reach out to me on Instagram. It's Lise, Lis.Arnold, Arnold. And if you think that a small town startup would be great in your city, let me know, because we are actively looking for and targeting the next small town startup location. So, I mean, you just let me know. I think that it would be awesome. And it would be great to have a recommendation come from the SheEO district, because I know that y'all are badasses. So I'm super excited and I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much, Keisha.
Thank you so much for tuning in. When I say I've enjoyed this conversation, and see, I don't know if you seen me looking down, but I was writing notes while during the interview.
I'm so glad it's valuable.
You was dropping a lot of nuggets, and we appreciate you. We thank you for being a part of the SheEO district.
Of course. I think what y'all are doing is incredible. Keep it up. Do it. We need these networks. We need empowerment. We need leadership like this. You guys are onto something. Keep going. I am so proud of all y'all's work. I'm proud of Kelly beyond belief. You guys are amazing.
And you are amazing as well. I love your personality. I love your spirit. And I pray that we get more of that energy and that vibe in the SheEO district. I hope that everyone listening was blessed by the words of encouragement, just believing in yourself and in your business, and basically knowing how to market, who to market to, and how to just get your business to skyrocket, because that's the goal. That's the end goal. You don't start a business just to stay in the business. At some point, you just want to run it from behind the scenes.
Yes. That is the thing, girl. Like, we don't have to be shy about it. We didn't get in business because we wanted to just have fun with it. We wanted to make money. And we thought that we could do it in a really smart way, right? So I think it's awesome. And we cannot be ashamed of that at all. I love making money. And that's great. And most importantly, I love making money knowing that I'm helping people. That is like the ultimate dream. And I think everyone that has a business goes into it with those thoughts.
Yes. So I think we can close out on a good note saying, doing business the smart way.
Yes, that sounds fabulous.
Doing business the smart way. We need to hashtag that. Doing business the smart way.
Yes, girl. I completely agree.
Well, thank you so much. We're getting ready to end. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in on tonight. I hope you all were taking notes. As always, be blessed. We love you here at the SheEO district. If you were on the call, please share this video with your friends, invite people into the community so they can see that we're about sisterhood and development and empowerment. And so we want to uncover every layer of the woman holistic list. So thank you everyone again for joining in. And thank you again, Lisa Arnold,
Of
for tuning
course.
in with us on tonight.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.